Ladies and gentlemen, today we are gathered to discuss a topic that transcends conventional wisdom. Destroy your enemy without fighting. In a world where conflict, rivalry, and strife often define human relationships, we are called upon to rise above these struggles. The question before us is simple. How can we achieve victory? Not through physical or emotional combat, but through strategic wisdom, inner strength, and divine purpose. The essence of success, my friends, lies not in defeating others, but in realizing that true power comes from a place of peace, understanding, and mastery over oneself. Victory, in the context I speak of, is not always about overpowering an adversary. Instead, it is about cultivating an internal strength so profound that your enemies are defeated not by your hands, but by your spirit and your resolve. When we understand this truth, we no longer need to engage in the battle of survival or destruction. We rise above the natural tendencies to fight and instead embrace a higher way of being, one that ensures success without loss or waste. This is the power of non-resistance, the victory of a mind aligned with purpose, and the dominion of one who is secure in their calling. Understanding the power of non-resistance. To destroy your enemy without fighting, you must first understand the power of non-resistance. Resistance is born from fear, insecurity, and the desire to assert control over situations or people. We believe that in order to be successful, we must fight against challenges, obstacles, and the people who stand in our way. But what if I told you that the greatest power lies not in confrontation, but in the ability to stand firm without reacting to every provocation? Non-resistance is a principle grounded in strength, not weakness. It is the ability to let things pass through you without them changing your essence. Non-resistance allows you to stay focused on your purpose while remaining unaffected by distractions. When you stop resisting, you stop energizing your enemies. Resistance only fuels the power of those who oppose you. By choosing not to engage in unnecessary conflicts, you diminish their ability to manipulate or provoke you. It is only when you react that you give your adversary control. Non-resistance frees you from their grasp. The more you practice it, the more you discover the true strength within you. The power of non-resistance lies in its ability to preserve your peace. When someone attacks you verbally or emotionally, instead of engaging in a battle, you choose to remain calm and composed. You allow their words and actions to bounce off you. In doing so, you create an environment of peace, not just externally, but within yourself. This peace becomes your fortress. And anyone who attempts to enter this space is immediately disarmed. They cannot harm you because your sense of self is not dependent on their actions. In the world we live in today, non-resistance is often misunderstood as passivity or weakness. But true strength is not in the ability to strike back. It is in the courage to remain unshaken even when the world around you is in chaos. It is in the wisdom to know when to engage and when to stand still. It is in choosing the path that leads to peace and prosperity, not in responding to every challenge with anger or force. Non-resistance is not an absence of action, but a deliberate choice to act from a place of power rather than reaction. Furthermore, when you practice non-resistance, you are better equipped to discern the truth of a situation. Often we react to external circumstances without fully understanding the dynamics at play. Non-resistance gives us the clarity to see beyond the surface. It allows us to observe the motives of others without being consumed by them. This higher level of awareness allows us to make decisions that align with our purpose, without being swayed by emotional impulses or the influence of our enemies. When you operate in the spirit of non-resistance, you create a powerful presence. People begin to respect you not because of your force, but because of your calm, composed energy. Your enemies are disarmed by your inability to be rattled. You have not only mastered the art of self-control, but you have also discovered the true essence of power. Power that does not need to prove itself to anyone. The strength of forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful tools you can use to destroy your enemies without fighting. Forgiveness does not mean that you condone the wrongs that have been done to you, nor does it mean that you allow others to continue hurting you. Forgiveness is an act of personal liberation. When you forgive, you release yourself from the chains of resentment and bitterness that bind you to your enemy. You free your mind, your heart, and your spirit. Forgiveness allows you to take control of your own emotions. Holding on to anger and resentment only gives your enemies power over you. It is through forgiveness that you reclaim your power. When you forgive, you release the negative energy that fuels conflict. This release allows you to focus your energy on more constructive pursuits rather than wasting it on bitterness and hate. The act of forgiveness also disarms your enemy. When you forgive, you show them that their actions no longer have power over you. You refuse to be defined by their wrongs. In this way, forgiveness is an act of defiance, not weakness. It is a refusal to allow the enemy's actions to dictate your emotional state or your future. You choose to rise above the pain and choose peace instead. Forgiveness is not a one-time act, but a continual process. It is something you must practice daily, especially in the face of adversity. Every time you choose to forgive, you strengthen your inner peace and diminish the power of your adversary. Forgiveness is a tool that allows you to destroy your enemies in a way that no weapon ever could, by freeing yourself from the emotional chains they seek to place on you. Moreover, forgiveness has the power to transform relationships. When you forgive, you create the possibility for healing and restoration. You stop viewing the other person as an enemy and instead begin to see them as a fellow human being, struggling with their own issues. This shift in perspective opens the door for reconciliation and, in some cases, collaboration. By forgiving, you not only release the other person from their wrongdoing, but you also release yourself from the burden of carrying that pain. Forgiveness is ultimately about freedom. It is the freedom to move forward without the weight of past wounds. It is the freedom to live in peace, regardless of the actions of others. Through forgiveness, you gain the power to transcend conflict and to create a life filled with joy, purpose, and fulfillment. The power of silence. Silence is often regarded as a sign of weakness or passivity, but in reality, it is a powerful tool for neutralizing conflict. There is a deep strength in silence that many fail to understand. The ability to remain silent in the face of provocation or aggression speaks volumes. It conveys a message that you are in control, that you do not need to engage in every altercation or respond to every challenge. Silence, when used wisely, can be more effective than words, and it can render your enemies powerless. In times of conflict, people often feel compelled to speak or act in response. This reaction is driven by a desire to defend ourselves, to prove a point, or to assert dominance. However, this is precisely where our power is diminished. The more we engage, the more we energize the situation, often escalating it unnecessarily. Silence, on the other hand, stops the cycle of reaction. It does not feed the conflict. Instead, it creates a space for reflection and calmness. In that silence, your enemy is left without a response. They have no one to engage with, no words to fuel their attack. Silence is a form of inner strength. It demonstrates that you do not need external validation or approval. When you remain silent, you are not weak or passive. You are choosing to protect your peace. You are intentionally avoiding unnecessary conflict. Silence forces your adversaries to confront their own actions without receiving any reaction from you. Over time, they begin to realize that their attacks have no effect, which makes them reconsider their position. This realization disarms them, as they no longer have the power to provoke or manipulate you. Moreover, silence gives you time to gather your thoughts and make better decisions. In the heat of the moment, it is easy to be swept up in emotion and react impulsively. Silence allows you to step back and consider your response more carefully. It enables you to observe the situation with a clear mind, free from the distortion of anger or fear. This calm, measured approach ensures that when you do speak or act, it is with purpose, precision, and power. In addition to disarming your enemies, silence can also serve as a protective barrier. When we are silent, we are not revealing our thoughts, intentions, or vulnerabilities. In the midst of conflict, silence protects our inner world, shielding us from the harmful effects of external negativity. Your silence becomes a powerful shield that keeps your enemies at bay, as they cannot penetrate what they do not understand. Lastly, silence can be a tool for spiritual growth and personal empowerment. When you choose silence over reaction, you demonstrate emotional maturity and wisdom. It allows you to access a deeper level of understanding and connection with your higher self. Through silence, you learn to detach from external circumstances and cultivate inner peace. This inner peace is where true power resides, for it is in this space that you are most aligned with your purpose and destiny. The power of understanding and empathy. To destroy your enemy without fighting, one must learn to cultivate a deep understanding and empathy for others, even those who oppose you. Our natural instinct is to view enemies as threats, as people who must be defeated. However, when we adopt an empathetic perspective, we begin to understand that our enemies are not inherently evil or malicious. They too are struggling with their own challenges, fears, and insecurities. By understanding their motivations, we disarm the power they have over us. Empathy is the ability to put yourself in another person's shoes and see the world through their eyes. It is the recognition that everyone has their own story, their own pain, and their own reasons for behaving the way they do. When you approach your enemies with enemies, you stop seeing them as enemies. Instead, you see them as fellow human beings, deserving of compassion and understanding. This shift in perspective allows you to let go of animosity and replace it with a sense of kindness and connection. By understanding your enemies, you gain insight into their weaknesses, fears, and desires. This knowledge gives you the upper hand in any situation. It allows you to navigate conflicts with wisdom and grace rather than reacting impulsively. You can now engage with your adversaries in a way that disarms them, not with force, but with the power of understanding. By addressing their needs and concerns with empathy, you can often resolve conflicts before they even escalate. Empathy also allows you to see beyond the surface. People often act out of fear, anger, or insecurity, and their actions are not always a reflection of their true selves. When you approach others with empathy, you begin to recognize their deeper motivations, which are often rooted in pain or unmet needs. By offering understanding, you can begin to break down the walls that separate you and your enemy. What once seemed like an insurmountable divide can now be bridged through compassion and connection. Additionally, empathy fosters the ability to communicate effectively. When you understand where the other person is coming from, you can tailor your communication in a way that speaks to their emotions and needs. This can diffuse tension and open up a path to mutual understanding and collaboration. Empathy transforms adversaries into allies, as it shifts the focus from winning or losing to finding common ground. Ultimately, empathy leads to peace. When you choose to understand rather than judge, you open the door to healing and resolution. Your enemies no longer have power over you because you have transcended the need for confrontation. Through empathy, you embrace the humanity in others, and in doing so, you destroy the very foundation of conflict, transforming negative energy into positive action. Another key to destroy your enemy without fighting is the ability to transform negative energy into positive action. Every confrontation, every attack, every challenge that comes your way is an opportunity to redirect energy. Negative energy, in the form of criticism, hatred, or opposition, can either consume you or propel you forward. The choice is yours. Rather than letting negativity derail you, you have the power to channel it into something constructive. When faced with negativity, most people respond with anger or defensiveness. They react impulsively, feeding the negative energy and allowing it to grow. But when you choose to transform that energy, you take control of the situation. Instead of reacting, you respond with purpose. You convert the energy of opposition into fuel for your personal growth, your goals, and your success. This transformation is the key to defeating your enemies without ever engaging in battle. Negative energy can be a powerful catalyst for change if you know how to harness it. It forces you to confront your own limitations, insecurities, and fears. When you face adversity, you are given the opportunity to rise above it. Negative energy challenges you to be more creative, more resilient, and more resourceful. It compels you to innovate and find solutions that you may not have considered before. In this way, your enemies become unwitting allies, pushing you to achieve greater things than you ever thought possible. The ability to transform negative energy requires emotional maturity and self-awareness. It is not enough to simply avoid conflict or suppress your emotions. You must learn to embrace the challenge and use it as a stepping stone for growth. This requires a mindset that views adversity not as an obstacle, but as an opportunity for transformation. When you adopt this mindset, you are no longer a victim of external circumstances. Instead, you become the master of your own fate. Moreover, transforming negative energy into positive action enables you to stay aligned with your purpose. It ensures that you are not distracted by petty conflicts or negative influences. You remain focused on your mission, and every challenge you face becomes an opportunity to move closer to your goals. In this way, your enemies may inadvertently be helping you fulfill your destiny. Finally, this transformation creates a ripple effect. When you handle negative energy with grace and wisdom, you inspire others to do the same. You become a source of positivity in a world filled with negativity. Your ability to turn challenges into opportunities becomes a model for others to follow. In this way, you not only defeat your enemies, but you also inspire a culture of peace, resilience, and empowerment. The power of faith and trust. The final key to destroying your enemy without fighting is the power of faith and trust. In the face of adversity, it is easy to become discouraged, to doubt our abilities, or to question whether we can overcome the challenges before us. But when we cultivate faith and trust, both in ourselves and in the higher power that guides us, we gain the strength to face any obstacle without fear or hesitation. Faith is the belief that, regardless of the circumstances, everything is working together for our good. Trust is the confidence that even in the midst of uncertainty, we are being guided toward our destiny. Together, faith and trust form a powerful foundation that allows us to move through life with unwavering confidence. When you have faith, you know that victory is already assured, and you do not need to fight to prove it. Faith and trust also enable us to relinquish control. We often feel the need to control every aspect of our lives, especially in the face of conflict. But true power lies in surrendering to the process and trusting that the outcome will align with our highest good. By having faith, we let go of the need to manipulate situations or people. We trust that everything is unfolding as it should, and we remain confident that our purpose will prevail. In times of conflict, faith and trust keep us anchored. They prevent us from being swayed by fear, doubt, or the opinions of others. With faith, we can face any challenge without being intimidated. We are able to walk through life with boldness, knowing that we are guided by a higher power. This faith allows us to remain calm, centered, and focused, even when our enemies are attempting to throw us off balance. Trust also helps us recognize that the process is just as important as the outcome. There may be times when it seems like things are not going according to plan, but faith teaches us that every experience has value. Every challenge, every setback, every moment of adversity is an opportunity to grow, learn, and become stronger. When we trust the process, we understand that everything is happening for a reason, and we are exactly where we need to be. Ultimately, faith and trust transform our perspective on conflict. Rather than seeing our enemies as obstacles to overcome, we see them as opportunities for growth and spiritual evolution. With faith and trust, we approach every situation with confidence, knowing that we are never alone in our journey. Through faith, we destroy our enemies not through physical force, but through spiritual alignment and unwavering belief in our divine purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, as we reflect on these principles, we come to understand that true power does not come from conquering others or winning in the traditional sense. It comes from mastering ourselves, our perceptions, and our responses. By embracing non-resistance, empathy, silence, forgiveness, and faith, We learn that victory lies not in external battle, but in internal peace and wisdom. When we are rooted in these principles, our enemies lose their power over us, and we are free to pursue our purpose and destiny with strength, clarity, and grace. The art of destroying your enemy without fighting is not about passivity, but about exercising the deepest forms of wisdom, strategy, and self-control. It is a reflection of the highest human potential, a life lived in alignment with divine purpose, where conflicts are resolved not through struggle, but through understanding, compassion, and the unshakable power of inner peace. Thank you.